So imagine I was doing this exact thing, except that I could also freeze the enemies, because they're not getting frozen. I let this map mod slip through the cracks, so it would have been nice. But, I mean, I guess it's a testament I can at least survive some hits, right? As long as I got, especially at Series Flask, getting all of that juicy life leech on spell damage. And yes, even chaos damage, because we've got a whole bunch of cold as extra chaos damage on the build. Alright, and then, yeah, you can see all the Frostbolts going out. See me dropping some valuable clusters. Well, hey guys, what's up? It's Snoo. I'm back again with another build showcase video for the upcoming 3.25 eventual League Start patch sometime in the near future. I guess we still don't have a date for it, and we don't know what's going to happen. Maybe everything's all up in the air and it gets nerfed to the ground. I don't know. But I will say this build, way more likely to survive whatever incoming nerf wrath is coming our way, because it's not Detonate Dead. All right, so the last build featured a poison cast on crit Detonate Dead. This one's going to feature poison cast on crit Ice Nova of Frostbolts on an Occultist, not a Ranger. Wow, we finally got away from a Ranger. Guys, I tried really hard to make a build that didn't have a Ranger and wasn't a bow build. Not like just completely, totally different meta. I tried, I swear. I tried, but wouldn't you know it, just testing things out and then just kind of realizing, and I know what I know. I know bows really well, so I'm just kind of pulled back into it. I can't get over this crazy rain of arrows, double, Mana Forge, double rain of arrows, double cast on crit. The craziness that you can make a build around, especially powerful when you have two separate skill gems that synergize off of each other in a tremendous way. In the case of Detonate Dead, that would be Desecrate into Detonate Dead of Chaining. And this time, it's going to be Frostbolt into Ice Nova Frostbolts. Now, Palsteron already made a build like this, a pure cold build on a Templar, mana focus, tanky, had Kitava's Thirst as a helmet, so quite different build. That is out there if you want to test it. So it's a brand new skill, transfigured skill gem. It's really cool, but I'm going to give you my take on this whole thing. Poison edition, because I'm really digging the whole element to poison conversion. It comes with all kinds of cool little tricks and toys that you can mess around with making this work. For example, on the Occultist Ascendancy, I get to double dip the more cold damage multiplier with the more chaos damage multiplier, because cold damage transform into poison does chaos damage, and it actually scales off of both of those. I also get one other really cool thing in terms of the summary of the build. If I were to give you the TLDR and what makes this build so insanely cool, check this out. The support gem, Unbound Ailments. You know this is really strong with poison, right? It's probably the strongest damage support gem with poison there is, because it increases the duration of your poison, infinite stacking, infinite scaling potential there. But did you know this skill gem affects freeze as well? It affects freeze duration, which means more likely to land. The freeze is going to have tremendous ramifications for defensive gameplay. It's going to help me a lot because my build's not all that tanky. It never is. And Occultist is known to be a very squishy ascendancy. So that's going to be really awesome to be able to scale the freeze duration and the poison damage at the exact same time with what was already one of the strongest damage support gems. Support gems, yeah. Well, there's Awakened version as well, but it's really nuts. Awesome value out of one support gem. The most valuable damage support gem I think I've ever seen in any build ever. So that's the TLDR on what makes the build really cool. So let's get into the details. Start with a passive tree, and I'll give you the mapping showcase at the end, get the skills, items, gear. All right, so here we go. First thing to note, time is money, friends, and I didn't make a League Start leveling version of this. So it's just a teaser. It's unfinished. I don't really know if I'm going to go all the way and make, full-blown leveling thing. I don't really know exactly how to level this. Probably just do Elementalist. Something with Elementalist and swap over to Occultist later. As I understand it, it's kind of hard to level an Occultist. I don't have the experience with it. Let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions, Derek. Just wanted to get that out of the way. But anyway, as a finished build, I can't even show you the full tree because I got to scroll down because we're going way down here because it is a bow build, right? All right, so Ascendancies to get them out of the way. We got Void Beacon, have to get that. And again, I already mentioned this, double scaling off of cold damage and chaos damage. And of course, Withering Presence is crazy strong for poison. And then of course we have Profane Bloom, which is also strong for poison, but obviously it's used for the explode anyway. So very cool Ascendancy setup, I'd say. And then because I'm getting use of this ascendancy point, cannot be chilled. Frozen is also really valuable, by the way, which means I can kind of cover my bases with taking this mastery here from the charge mastery. That's pretty awesome. I'll still get ignited, but now I don't need to worry about purity of elements or, ancestral vision or any other quirky way to make myself element immune. Got it covered. So very convenient for this ascendancy. Here's another thing that's really strong. Elemental overload. All right, so another reason why I wanted to make a witch that featured poison is because elemental overload is uniquely good for this setup and still works. It's actually going to work with a cast on crit setup. Now, it does mean my crits aren't going to do extra damage, and that hurts my damage a little bit through the damage or dot multi with ailments, I guess. But for a value sake, 1 point, it's huge amount of value. And of course, I'm going to get this whole wheel over here with the damage over time mastery, very strong for poison. And this whole setup looks kind of familiar, right? Getting a little bit of life, getting some ailments, getting maim and hinder would be nice, because even though I got freeze and I'm still chilling, and it would be nice to slow the enemies down as much as I can. Scaling cold damage, scaling dot damage, scaling more cold damage, more cold damage, more cold damage, scaling freeze. Okay, scaling more poison over here. Could even scale even more poison down here. More poison here. So this turns what is usually kind of a weak tree. The witch tree for occultists, as I understand, a little bit weak. Can be anyway. If I was only able to scale dot poison damage or only able to scale elemental damage, this tree wouldn't be nearly as strong. So again, a major advantage to scaling both of them is I can get a much more efficient tree going on here. I get the power charges from this here, and I really went there for the mastery. We got the suppress going on, got easy access to another curse. We're going to scale frenzy charges, which you'll see why in a second, and power charges. Not using anathema this time, but I do have four curses anyway, which we'll see how in a second here. Let's see, I got one to start with. I got another one from the Occultist. Whoops, just kidding. I got a Whispers of Doom here, and I got a Cosprey. Wearing a Cosprey, which conveniently grants me poison on hit every single time, so that's why I'm using it here. And then we got Doidra's Damning, which is definitely the least valuable place for next one. I could just use an anathema and have, I guess, 4 anyway, but cheaper ring and comes with some all-res, so that's kind of cool, right? And so that is kind of helped explain where the curses are coming from. We'll get more to that in the skill section. Scaling life, suppress, leech, because I'm still doing Rain of Arrows. And yeah, the one that's a little bit weird here is this one here. We got Elemental Mastery. Normally you're not scaling any damage, not scaling any poison damage off here, but when I check the calculations, this does improve my hit-based cold damage quite a bit. And if I want to freeze enemies pretty reliably, it's kind of nice to have this on here. This wheel is pretty powerful if you see the damage anyway, so it's really not that bad. So pretty cool. I love how this is able to just turn a weird tree that would not be very efficient into a really hyper efficient tree with just very valuable points all over the place. Now with that, we'll go over to the skills here. So again, similar thing going on. I have a bow. It's got cast on crit because it's a shaper bow. Cast on crit is rolled as a prefix. And then we got some really strong support gems on Rain of Arrows, including, well, of course, Ice Nova Frostbolts, Inspiration there. We've got Cruelty, Unbound Ailments, and then Hypothermia. So, my goodness. That's just some crazy strong support gems there. So, a Quasi 7 link turned back into a 5 link, essentially, because I got Rain of Arrows in here, too. So, it's essentially a 5 link, how this works out. And Ice Nova Frostbolt linked up to 4, because it works up to 4 different projectiles. And you're going to see in a second here, when we go over to the second Mana Forge Rain of Arrows, cast on crit. Frostbolt is here with Greater Volley. So I get 2 gem links to work with here. Sometimes I put the mark in, sometimes I put curses in. But in this case, we're going to do Frostbolt, Greater Volley. Last time it was Warlord's Mark and Desecrate. But this time I need Frostbolt. And I don't even know if I necessarily need Volley here. It might have a flexible slot. You're going to see they proc like crazy. So that's fine. Life tap, because you could, just kind of need it. It just costs too much mana if it's not in there otherwise. Moving on, we got the auras, which is not 250% and a 25% herald. No, I need precision in here. Precision is really valuable mainly for the hit chance. Okay, I was trying to work in the hit chance. Let me show you. The hit chance goes from 80% to 95%. And there is some value in crit too, but I'm almost there anyway. So Frost Blink, because thematically it just makes more sense than Flame Dash. Don't have to, I guess, but imagine Frost Blink poisoning. That's pretty radical, right? Then we have the curses, which are all in a Zenith's Mark. Again, doing a similar setup as last time, getting Despair, Punishment, Temp, Chains, Enfeebled. The exact same curses as last time, works similar, just like it did on the Pathfinder from the last video. Every single time I cast arrows, it's going to cast a curse. Assuming I have the mana, I have more mana than usual actually here. So that's going to work out nice. And then we got Enduring Cry, Call to Arms, because I've tried to get a little bit extra tanky, so we can fit that in. And then Casting Damage, Taking Immortal Call will also be in there too. Not the most reliable way to get endurance charges, but you know, you pair both of them up, really not that bad. So there it is. That's all the gems in there. I don't think I'm missing anything, any key things going on. The aura is pretty light on auras, so only 250% auras and a precision. That's fewer auras than usual, I'd say. And you'll notice I saved some points by not even having to go influence. But I did have to anoint charisma, actually. A little weird. But anyway, here we go. We're doing the items now. So we have the Shaper Bow. And this is, out of all the Shaper Bows I'm actually going to show you this bow 3 times in this little season. But this is the hardest one to craft, I'd say. This is probably going to start with cold damage to spells, because unlike the Detonate Dead one, we actually are scaling off poison damage. So we get the unique opportunity to get extra damage through starting with essences for flat spell damage. That's really awesome, right? There's a bow that I was going to use. A frenzy bow with cold damage, huge flat cold, but it's not for spells. I would love to use that unique bow. Hope Shredder, or Hope something. I can't remember the exact name. But anyway, we have to do this setup instead, and going to try to hit cast on crit through the essence. Getting the critical strike chance, the flat crit, may not be feasible here. May have to actually bench that on instead of chaos damage over time. But absolutely going to need the cold damage, extra chaos damage. That is wildly powerful for this. And again, another huge scalar that occurs when you do element to poison damage. Next up, we got the Quiver. And I'm getting Onslaught conveniently here. I don't need to do it on a flask in this case. Not a huge amount of value overall, but I need the dex somewhere. Get the life on hit for the Rain of Arrows. It's good. And the global crit and frenzy charge on crit is really nice too. So we got power charges on kill, and we've got frenzy charge on crit. Then we have Asenath's Mark, which is just there for the curses. Kind of losing some value out of a helmet slot, but it's going to be wildly strong overall because of how efficiently I can get curses out. Then we got Cosprey's Will. Okay, this is a really unique chest. A lot of people love this chest, getting huge value out of this. Chaos damage completely solved. Or sorry, chaos resistance, completely solved. Between the Ascendancy, Withering Presence, and Cosprey's Will. Don't even need to think about chaos resistance. So a high chaos res build, this one is. Additional curse is going to be value here. Hexes can affect hexproof enemies is nice. And always poison on hit against cursed enemies. Last build I showcased, I did it the hard way. I had to get like a curse to get poisoned. I had to, craft it on, an Elder Influence bow. I had to get some points on the tree. A few different places, weird places I had to get poisoned to get it up to 100%. This is done right here. All done. The gloves, already mentioned, build enabling gloves, have to use those. And then we have a build enabling amulet, again, using this amulet because this, of course, synergizes really well with elemental overload. Because I already have the downside, right? So it double dips the downside, which doesn't mean anything. So really great having this. And if you want to see my crit chance tank, just take that off. Doidra's Damning to get the 4th curse in. And then we have a couple of rare crafts to cover our bases with attributes and resistances as usual. Cooldown, because I can think of anything else really that was good there. Minus mana cost, it's all right. But you can see we got the resistances covered. No Divination Distillate this time. No Perma Divination Distillate. The flasks will be down more often. We're still going for evasion, more or less, on an Occultist, which may seem a little weird. We're getting all the crit in the world here. The series promise, gotta have this on here. I'm gonna get huge amounts of leech from this as well. And then Taste of Hate, because it doesn't give me extra damage like you might think it would, but it's just for some extra damage reduction. And then we got a Quicksilver. I can't get stun immune easily, but I already have like this amulet and stuff, so I'm already sitting pretty nice on the stun recovery. I decided to just kind of go all in with that setup here. I can't remember. We got Soul of Lunaris here, right? Because I don't really want to use Brine King because I already got freeze immune easily through the Ascendancy. Got a few jewels here, getting major value out of this. Phasing and Blind. We'll be going for both of those on one Searching Eye jewel. Not wearing a Stygian Vice, though, wearing Olyssea's Delight. So I think one or two of the builds I have is featuring this. We got 6 Frenzy Charges, and this is crazy damage when it's converted over. Get a lot of damage off the belt here. Basically doubles the damage that you normally get. And then I get a lot of resistance, movement speed, which is nice, and evasion. So very strong belt in its own right. And even the stun and block recovery, kind of going that route. So cool there. Also, get a Corrupted Blood immunity because I don't want to run a Life Flask on this setup. And then just a couple of damage jewels, whatever I can get. All kinds of different ways to scale. So base jewels are really strong with a build like this because I could scale cold damage, elemental damage, crit chance, elemental damage, poison damage, damage over time, dot multi, scale whatever I need on these. Like half the mods on a base jewel are valuable for this build. So that's really, really nice. All right, so that's going to be it for the items. On to the configuration. Once again, like last time, I have 1500 increased attack speed. That's just to kind of replicate what Rain of Arrows does when you do that. No corpse life here. Again, Lunaris to Aberath. And we got power charges, we got frenzy charges, and we have endurance charges from the Call to Arms. Life tab is on here. Onslaught will usually be on, but this is a boss setup. The damage for almost 14 million. It's going to feel a little unrealistic. That's with like just hyper efficient procking on cast on crit, so optimal conditions. Not going to be that way every single time. Enemies poisoned. Wither stacks do take a while to stack up on the Occultist, but that's just how it goes. We got freeze there. We got 10 seconds of freeze, hopefully, on the enemies. Cast on Frostbolt. It's going to affect the damage a lot. There, we got Cruelty. Hinder, Blinded. Okay, that's going to give me some nice hit rate. The blind and everything. Of course, blind does not matter for spells. It just matters for... That's why I don't worry about capping my hit chance. Because that's just to proc the cast on crit. That doesn't have anything to do with the damage directly. Indirectly it does, but not directly. All right, so that's the config. And in the calculations, we can see the flat cold damage. Now, this is not a huge number, and a lot of things aren't actually going to get frozen. But trying to raise it as much as I can. You can see the freeze chance is 89%, even though I'm not critting. Still 89% for Ice Nova Frostbolts, which is the hardest hitting thing. And look at that. We get the chance on Hypothermia, which is one reason why that gem is there. And the duration. Remember what I talked about in the beginning. Unbound Ailment. 64% increased ailment duration. We got Breath of Rhyme already in there too. We got the damage over time mastery. So that is a lot of increased duration. It's going to give me some reasonable freeze going on in this build as well. Chance to poison, 100% there. And other avoidance. There, the elemental ailment avoidances are there. Not stun immune, however. A decent life threshold, a little bit more than usual, almost 4k life. Leech is only going to apply to attacks or spells with a series flask up. And I definitely could make the build better if I got like life leech spells permanently. But anyway, max hit is without a mortal call. Well, it goes all the way down to 8k. So that's not all that great. That's a little less than the Pathfinder. And yeah, that was with a Magic Find build. Okay, so this is a non-Magic Find build, and still it's a little bit less hit. But it's okay because I do freeze, and I'm going to be slowing enemies down a lot more. But killing them a little slower. So anyway, we'll see how it goes in just a second with a map showcase. So that's what's next. All right, guys, here it is, the map showcase coming your way. This is the Atlas, just like in the previous 2 showcases. I think I'll just use this one every time, whether the build is really designed for it or not. I like the idea of racing to Tier 17 Delirium eye-level 84 cluster farming, and I can kind of showcase the lower end of it as well. Well, here it is. We got a Minotaur map, white Minotaur map with nothing going on, and then we'll upscale that to an 11 with an abomination map with permanent delirium and everything like that. So we'll get both ends of the spectrum. Hopefully this build can perform pretty well in both of them. We'll see. I'm a little concerned about the single target or boss damage. I feel pretty good about the trash damage, especially in T16s for this build. Alright guys, here it is. Conveniently showcasing Frostbolt and Ice Nova Frostbolt so you can see them going off like crazy. There it is. Look at them all go, all the different Frostbolts. I didn't think they were Frostbolts, but they're more like frost bubbles. Are those really bolts, guys? They're bolts. Oh, starting to lag. Ugh. Sorry about the lag there. I guess you know that's a good build because it's making me lag. That's always a good thing. Truly a kind of one-button build here. All I got to do is I got Frost Blink and I got right-click. Everything else is happening automatically. It's one reason why I love this build. It's just so easy to do. Just trailblazing my way through this. Or I guess frost blazing my way through it, maybe. Yeah, definitely does plenty of damage. It's got things rolling. There is some delay, however. Again, it's very delayed damage like it was on the Detonate Dead version. But at least I have freeze here, right? So if I can freeze, the delay isn't that big of a deal. But we got the pops too. We got the nice, lovely pops as well. So way more survivability in a certain light than the Pathfinder had. Now, when we get into Delirium, it's going to look a little bit worse because things will not be getting as frozen as easily when I start getting especially into deeper deli. Alright, we're almost there to the end. Here we go. Boss room. Alright, let's see it. Yeah, okay. Not the worst. Oh. See, that's an issue of not having leech. You notice I sat at lower life for a while there. That's not good. Let me try that again. So, at Series Flask, I would not have died there if I had had Series Flask up. And it was my fault I didn't have it up. You know, it doesn't take me that long to kill the boss. At least for a shorter fight like this. And I can stand further away if I want, obviously. So there you go. Alright, well, died once, but it was kind of my fault. Here we go. We got an abomination map. Now, I know there's not a snowball's chance in hell, no pun intended, that I'm going to kill the boss on this map. It's not happening, but I'll show you what happens anyway, I guess. Oops, what am I doing? Alright, and then we got to go down to Delirium. Whew, very easy map. Now, the reason this is an easy map is because it's all enemies can't crit me if they're poisoned. We got the mastery for that. I don't have any minions. I don't have any totems. Monsters cannot have action speed reduced. Well, I might be shooting myself in the foot a little there with the freeze, I guess. But, oh well. We'll go through with it. Here is the gear. Just so you can see, the build is virtually identical to what the showcase shows. All right. Okay. Here it is. Whew. Okay. Oh, no. It sticks out into the screen far. I let you see the map mods anyway, though. Oh, a Divine Orb. Oh, it's a good map, guys. It's a good map. Snoo doing his usual Snoo thing. Dropping raw divines in a map showcase. Oh my god, that's a lot of lightning. So imagine I was doing this exact thing, except that I could also freeze the enemies. Because they're not getting frozen. I let this map mod slip through the cracks, so it would have been nice. But, I mean, I guess it's a testament I can at least survive some hits, right? As long as I got, especially at Series Flask, getting all of that juicy life leech on spell damage. And yes, even chaos damage, because we've got a whole bunch of cold as extra chaos damage on the build. Alright, and then, yeah, you can see all the Frostbolts going out. See me dropping some valuable clusters. You can see things would be getting frozen, but they're not. And I'm dead. Alright, well, I should have done... I should have made sure I was doing a map where I could have frozen enemies. That's okay. We'll go back in one more time. And I would like to be able to at least see if I could maybe open that Legion. I don't know. Oh yeah, that helps too. Ooh. I need the pops to carry me. Get that profane bloom. Let it do the heavy lifting. Alright, there was a legion over here, right? We're gonna do this legion. Wait, what? Oh, it's up there. Wait, how come I can't access this? This is so annoying. I gotta go all the way around. Okay. I need to stop going into that pack of monsters, evidently. That monster pack is too hard. Same one killed me twice. Let me go this way. Oh my goodness. That's raunchy. Got good recovery though. Again with the flask up. Am I gonna make it? Oh. Alright, here we go. Well, yeah, Profane Bloom will unlock the Legion for me. Okay. I didn't even think about that. Oh, this is a terrible Legion layout. I don't know what to do with this. Got a cracked spider. Wow, kind of survived. Kind of surprised I didn't die there. Nice. Oh. Wow. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll make it to the boss room. Well, not if I rubber band. Is there a boss room anywhere around here? I really wish I had done this with a map where you could see freeze going out. It would have looked a lot different. Alright, for your entertainment only. I actually can't really see what the hell is going on here. I don't really know. Oh, a Series Flask down. Now look at that life leech go back up. Look at that. I gotta figure out a way to make a Series Flask permanently up or give myself some sort of cold damage leached. Not just for attacks. It would make all the difference in the world. But that's basically it for the build, guys. I'm going to die any second because I just don't have the recovery. So you get a real solid sense of the build's strengths and weaknesses. Except I didn't really show you the strength of freeze in there, but you got to see it in the Minotaur map. Alright, that's it for the showcase. What do you think of this build? Is this a little bit too much going on here? Do you think it's a little too much? I don't know, there's a lot of stuff going on in this build. Well, I think it works pretty well. I like the Mana Forge cast on crit setup. Like I said, guys, not the last time I'm going to show you. So stay tuned. Look forward to one or maybe two more showcases. Remains to be seen. But you can always see me on Twitch where I am exploring new build ideas, showcasing or testing some of this stuff. You can see what it can do in advance if you like. Path of Buildings are all linked over there. There's stuff in the description of this video as well. That's it for this one. I will see you guys in the next video.